Why do you have to stay on the beach?
Sam, I am the beach. And I must stay here and ensure that the extinction happens. Even if it takes tens or hundreds of thousands of years.
Alone?
That's what an EE does. If I had just done my job, none of this would have happened. But I couldn't take it anymore. I got so tired of waiting, and I figured that no one would blame me if I just got it all over with. So, that's what I did.
Sounds like hell.
Beach. Based on the game's science fiction, a fundamental balance of human or living processes consists of this order: living, death, beach, death, afterlife. The beach serves as a purgatory where souls can separate from the living realm to transition to the afterlife at their own pace. This is the reason Hicks asserts that a second death while on the beach is a definitive death that leads them to the other side, the afterlife.
This place, this fucking beach. There's no repatriation here, no. One of us dies, that's it. He goes to the other side. It's nice, huh? Lucky loser gets to put an end to this rinse and repeat bullshit once and for all.
Entangled Beach. Essentially, everyone has their own beach, but they are not connected, much like a multiverse. However, under certain conditions, when many people share the same feelings or beliefs and pass away around the same time, as theorized by Hartman, beaches can become entangled to form a strand field. This indicates that a beach can take any shape based on an individual's beliefs or life principles, or simply reflect the dark events experienced at the time of death. Therefore, a beach is not always limited to the form of a beach.
As you might have suspected, time here stopped while you two were on that battlefield.
If my thinking is correct, the dimension to which you traveled is a kind of beach. To explain a little, our bodies, our ha, all occupy the same world, but our souls, our ka, have beaches all their own. These beaches are given form inside our brains by our beliefs, religion, philosophy, and so forth. As a result, a beach can be anything, and those anythings form a multiverse. However, if many people die at once, their beaches can become entangled, creating a strand field. This phenomenon is exacerbated in wartime by omnipresent feelings of resentment and despair. Beaches are more easily and frequently entangled. On such a beach, exits vanish and experiences cycle endlessly.
Extinction Entity.
The first operation, I was only 20. I opened my eyes and found myself on the beach. But the moment I came round, I was back in the hospital bed. I was split across two worlds. Bridget, my ha in that one. Amelie, my ka in this. Somehow, the two of us managed to coexist. Soon, our ages began to diverge. Only Bridget's body got older, while the beach kept Amelie's the same. So I came up with a story. I told people that Amelie was my daughter. A daughter with a debilitating condition and an absent father.
The processes of the world or universe occur in a sequence of exist and extinct. Extinction Entity, EE, represents a being that serves as a junction in the exist-extinct cycle. However, when EE separates into two entities, Bridget and Emily, it creates a sort of hole that connects the living world and the beach world. Over time, this hole evolves into a gate for things residing in the beach to visit the living world. And as shown in the game, the encounters between beach things, BT, and living beings act like matter and antimatter, leading the living world to experience their first void out. Interestingly, in United States, the first area to become a void out site was Manhattan.
I don't want a repeat of last year.
The void out in Manhattan.
Beach things. Unlike the sequence of human or living processes, which again includes living, death, beach, death, afterlife, the balance has shifted due to the opening of a gate by EE along with the void out events that show things from the beach entering the living world. People who have experienced death can visit the beach, but they cannot pass through to the afterlife nor return to reside within the beach. Instead, they stranded back to the living world, but they lose their living bodies. This is why they are referred to as beach things, a term that illustrates the process of being stranded that they undergo. Bridge baby. To tackle this catastrophe, employing any means necessary to safeguard humanity from extinction, Bridget utilizes an unborn baby.
Good. A temporary excessive stress, easily addressed if we return it to its mother's womb.
Mother?
Located in the capital Knot City ICU. Brain dead, of course.
You mean still mother?
Correct. A still mother's womb facilitates a connection between the world of the dead and the BB. And you, in turn, connect yourself to a BB, granting you the ability to sense BTs. These pods were designed to simulate the conditions inside a still mother's womb. BBs need to believe they're in one at all times to function properly.
Bridget utilizes an unborn baby, specifically one that is 28 weeks old. At this stage, a fetus starts to gain more control over its body, including the ability to breathe and regulate its own temperature. The fetus also begins to open its eyelids and may blink for the first time. This indicates the process of someone moving towards life. In other words, it can be used as a medium to help humans perceive BT, as the fetus exists between two worlds, beach and living. The realm between living and beach, inhabited by the fetus, is referred to as SIM. Through a particular process, both BB and its still mother are clinically halting their aging and staying in the same world. Brain dead. To serve as a BT detector. The first fetus used in this experiment is Sam, the child of Clifford Unger and his wife Lisa Bridges.
I'm so sorry. I didn't know you were the husband.
Repatriate. Back to the living and beach gate created by EE, it is also used by EE as a pathway to save Sam, allowing him to return to the living world by repairing his body that is still floating in the SIM before reaching the beach. This enables his body and soul to come back to life after being severely injured or dead in the living world, as his body instantly heals when he visits the SIM. In short, people go to the beach when they die, but Sam only reaches the SIM upon his death. He repeats the healing process he experienced and returns to the living world in a complete state. Dooms. The group of individuals known as Dooms can be referred to as Mini EE for easier explanation. These are entities that, in addition to being alive in the living world, can also live or visit the beach back and forth. Essentially, Dooms is a group of people with a strong connection to their respective beaches. This is also related to the hole opened by EE. The more Dooms there are, the wider the hole between the living world and the beach world becomes, ultimately serving as a gateway.
Surely you figured it out.
Dooms? People like us? She's the source of it all!
Nightmares that haunt us, the visions of an inescapable future.
Sound familiar? Happy fucking Doomsday, Sam! Fuck you!
Multi-beach living. A being that possesses multiple beaches due to its developmental processes. In this case, Dead Man is the only example of creature experiencing this phenomenon. Because various body organs are formed from different donors, it has access to many beaches, which are some of the donor's beaches. Furthermore, this allows it to control parts of the body or the entire body of others or any organ, provided that the body or body parts is uninhabited. As seen with Hartman, where Dead Man controls Hartman's body while his soul transitions to the beach.
Sorry if I gave you a scare. While Hartman is off conducting his near-death excursions, I am borrowing his body. My soul is normally confined to the beach, but for 3 minutes, I get to be here.
How's that possible?
Because he has my heart.
You're telling me that's...
My parting gift to Hartman, yes. Per his request, I bequeathed it before departing on my one-way trip to the beach. He put so much stress on his own that it had grown quite weak. If and when it failed, mine was meant to serve as insurance. But as you can see, he appears to have become rather attached to my heart. His finger never far from the proverbial on switch, which is why I've been able to assume control of his body. Come here. It's good to see you, Sam.
Well, I've apprised Hartman of the situation. It's not unlike my own experience. A soul finds itself in a puppet and then acts as a puppeteer. One's ka can reside in any vessel to which one has a strong attachment. Human ha or inanimate object. It makes no difference.
Conjoined Living. Unlike Hartman or Dead Man who can explore various beaches of others, this time it's the opposite. Two individuals who possess only one beach. Born as conjoined twins, Melnigan and Lochner underwent a separation surgery. In short, this surgery was successful, but their two souls can still communicate seamlessly as if they were still in one body. Interestingly, they complement each other while functioning in opposite ways. Illustrated by the process of creating the Chiral Network, where Melnigan handles the hardware and Lochner manages the software. This piqued E.'s interest in studying them and replicating their telepathic abilities. Hence, Die Hartman stated that there would be no Chiral Network without these two genius twins. Chiral Network. This network is inspired by the symbiote twin condition, which has one beach for two souls. The Chiral Network is a system designed to connect people's beach without the need for death nor dooms. This means that the network serves as a safe bridge between the living world and the beach world, allowing individuals to avoid the death process while also preventing them from drifting too far into the afterlife. Plate Gate. Unlike the Chiral Network, which only provides us with digital access, we can access this physically. This gate resembles a hole between two worlds that arises due to the existence of EE between the two realms, Bridget and Amelie, but this one is visible and has a physical form in the living world. With the same function of connecting the living world to the beach world, this gate can be accessed by people without having to face death, essentially like a spiritual gateway between the living world and the beach world, opened by EE and expanded by Dooms. The Plate Gate is a physical manifestation of the widening gateway between the living world and the beach world, initiated by Sam and broadened by the Chiral Network. In summary, the Plate Gate is a component of Chiral Network. The Chiral Network serves as a public communication, while the Plate Gate functions as public transportation. It's akin to EE and Dooms generating the Death Stranding, whereas Sam and the Chiral Network are resolving the Death Stranding. Death Stranding. After analyzing each explanation above, we can conclude that the universe has gone through 5 phases of life, with EE serving as the 0 point in a life phase. We are currently in the 6th phase, and Bridget is the EE for this phase.
5. We've had 5 mass extinctions, each caused by an extinction entity. And now it's time for number 6.
Bridget realizes that EE does not function as a cycle point, but rather is meant to truly break the cycle of life. However, by discovering the Chiral Network that can restore data from the past, Amelie finds that previous EEs always try to maintain their phase for as long as possible, ultimately leading to a new phase that somehow survives just enough to form a new phase even after being completely destroyed.
Every mystery was ours to solve, like this one. Once, there was an explosion. A big bang that gave birth to time and space. Thing is, it was more like a big fluke. All that matter and antimatter should have cancelled itself out, leaving nothing. But somehow a tiny speck of matter survived, just enough. Enough to make this world and everything in it. A world that shouldn't be, a world out of balance. Order inevitably gives way to chaos. Everything that lives must inevitably die. It's like the universe is trying to return us to the nothing we came from. Maybe the Big Five were its best attempts to finish us off. But somehow, life always managed to survive just enough. Enough to thumb its nose at the will of the cosmos. You know, I'm starting to think that extinction might be the key to overcoming total annihilation. It forces life to fight to survive, to endure, to exist. That's why the Big Five ultimately rekindled life instead of extinguishing it. From the ashes of the dead rise the living. Stronger and wiser. Inheritors of the legacy of existence itself. They defy the universe and refuse to surrender. They say, we're just getting started. Extinction is an opportunity.
When Bridget discovers that no EE has ever manifested as a multiple being before, she views it as a planned upgrade of life by previous EEs. For instance, humans in this 6th phase, Homo sapiens, are an upgraded form of humans from the 5th phase, namely Homo neanderthalensis. It is highly likely that EE projects the humans for the 7th phase to be Homo ludens. Nevertheless, it seems Bridget has other plans, which involve continuing the human upgrade project as previously done by EE, but without destroying everything and starting over from scratch. Thus, EE refers to this sixth phase as the last stranding, indicating that this phase is the final extinction event, where end does not mean the end of existence, but rather the end of extinction.
So, the files say you worked with Amelie to connect everyone in the UCA to the Chiral Network. But that despite your best efforts, an extinction event known as the Last Stranding seemed destined to kill us all. Until Amelie found a way to put a stop to it. She single-handedly sealed off the Extinction Entity's beach, preventing countless BTs from invading our world, and in doing so saved humanity.
However, there are groups of humans who genuinely want this phase to be the last of existence. These humans are referred to as Homo Demons.
Who are these assholes again?
Homo Demons. Militant separatist group. They run Edge Knot City.
I've heard of them. Bunch of terrorists who go around towns killing people and leaving craters.
On the beach, the leader of Homo Demons is known to be Higgs, but he finds himself trapped in the beach after a confrontation with Fragile. This does not extinguish Higgs' destructive spirits. Instead, he discovers a way to continue his nefarious mission. In the first game, Higgs possessed the individual power and abilities to destroy the world by forming groups to incite conflicts with Homo Ludens. However, in the second game, he loses that power due to being stranded in the beach. Therefore, he plans to exploit human conflicts to combat Homo Ludens. How does he intend to do this? Through abiogenesis.
Been a long time, Sam.
Fuck, how you still alive?
Oh, no, I'm just a ghost. Come to take my revenge on you and that bitch Fragile. All the way from the other side.
Looking at the dead men who can control the empty living beings from the beach, dead men have hard men who can be controlled. However, Higgs has fewer options or is almost out of them. Thus, he resorts to the theory of abiogenesis. Abiogenesis is a scientific theory that explains how life might have originated from non-living matter. To simplify the understanding, let's directly refer to the only study of abiogenesis, which is the Miller-Urey experiments. In the Miller-Urey experiments, a reddish-brown substance was produced, identified as organic compounds that adhere to the silica of the glass flask. This directly explains why robots or synthetic bodies, which they like to call mecha ghosts, share the same color design. The Miller-Urey experiments demonstrated that amino acids, essential building blocks of proteins, which are vital for life on Earth, may have formed from inorganic substances during the prebiotic era of our planet. One clear outcome of these experiments served as a foundation for understanding how chiral creature could develop with the assistance of tar currents.
That chrysalis, we found her inside. It was filled with a fluid that contained amino acids. One's identical in structure to the kind found in tar.
I'm sorry, there are amino acids in tar? As in proteins?
Of course. How else did you think that chiral creatures could emerge from it? Some have even theorized that the tar is a sort of primordial soup.
What are your thoughts about it all? I am Fury Rust. Thanks for watching and I'll see you down the line.